Starting a little video for a garden update, I guess. Probably the final garden update of the season. I'm here at the community garden. It has been a very hot, dry summer here, so most of the plots here didn't do too well. I'm no longer growing vegetables here. I'm trying to turn my plot into a wildflower garden. Obviously, sunflowers are not wildflowers. These, I think, are called giant Russian. Strange thing, it's all different heights. Some of them fairly high, and then we've got this little guy on the end here. But other than that, I have down in here amongst the weeds, that is a swamp milkweed, and that's a black-eyed Susan. They're both perennial. And there's another milkweed there and another milkweed here. Not very much this year. Some of the things that I thought I grew when I was over wintering or winter sowing didn't turn out to be what I thought they were. But anyway, I have several things planned for next year to do more winter sowing this fall. This little thing, it's a sunflower also. There's several blossoms on each plant, short, small. Something like Sonia, it was called, I think. I'm not terribly impressed with it. And there's another black-eyed Susan there. But this is the plan anyway, that this will be a perennial wildflower garden eventually. Well, I'm back home and I'll take you around and show you what's still alive, which isn't a lot, I guess. I don't think this update will take very long. These are my onions. Talon, I guess, is the variety. The same ones that I grew last year, anyway, same variety. And there's some great size ones in there. I can zoom in on one like that. I don't know if I have as many as I had last year. Maybe I had more seedlings. I've also used some of these since early August. Every once in a while I pull a couple and use them, but they were fantastic storage onions. I was using them right up until the middle of July from onions that I harvested last October or whatever. So they're just starting to fall over. You can see some of them down in there that have fallen. And if you don't know what that means, you wait for your onions to fall over before you harvest them. That means they've finished growing. I usually wait, 2 or 3 times that I've grown them, I usually wait until about a week after they've all fallen over before I pull them up, and they'll go in the greenhouse. Some shelves in there to cure before I put them in the basement for the winter. I don't know what I was showing you a table for. Anyway, that's an amaryllis. A niece of mine gave it to me for Christmas last year. I had it in the house all winter. It bloomed. It was beautiful. It didn't grow any leaves. I kept it watered and kept it in the light. Brought it outdoors this summer and it took off. So if I can keep it going for another month or two and let it just die down on its own, it should bloom again this winter. And photobombing is Angel. This is the potato bed, which has obviously been harvested. I will insert a photograph here in a second of the last harvest that I did, which was roughly half of them. So I have been using them again since early August sometime, I guess. Periodically just pulling some. They were a red skin potato, excellent. And I don't know, I didn't weigh the paper bag that I put them in, but somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds, I would say. It's quite heavy, so I'll enjoy those this fall. One of my security cameras caught me talking about my potatoes, so I thought I would include that. This is my squash bed. The plants closer to me are acorn squash, and they have performed very well. I'll try to dig down in there and show you one or two. I have picked 4 of them so far, eaten 1, and it was delicious. The other 3 are in the greenhouse hardening off or seasoning, whatever you want to call them. The vines that are climbing back there are red curry, Kuri, squash, which I love. 4 plants, and I got 4 squash. And there's no more blossoms, there's nothing coming, so I'm not even watering that into the bed anymore. They're starting to die back. I don't know what the issue was there. I've grown them before, and I know they were more prolific than that. Maybe they didn't like the heat. We had an unusually hot summer for us anyway. I think right down in here somewhere I see, yeah, there's one. That's one of the acorns. I'm hoping that they get a chance to fully mature before we get frost. There are some others. Yeah, if I can get in there to show you. Right there, that's one that's already turned the dark green. That could be picked and put in the greenhouse now. They are very tasty, and I like the size. I don't have to cook a great big squash and wonder what you're going to do with it all. They're pretty much, well, I guess a couple of servings in each one. And that is a verbascum, a mullein. I've read all kinds of things about the wonderful benefits of a mullein. I've never done anything. I just enjoy the things. I didn't plant that. It just came there. They come frequently on my property. I scattered seeds years and years ago. And they are a great thing for attracting pollinators. Way up at the top, I just saw bees. Probably they've flown off. I can still hear bees. I have a lot of pollinators on my property this year, and I don't think it's anything that I did intentionally, but I don't mow, and I have invasive plants. The worst one is the, Himalayan impatiens, jewelweed type plant. Thousands of them on my property, but the bees love it. And I think I can show you one right here somewhere. Yeah. That pink one, that's the Himalayan impatiens. And other than that, I have tansy by the acre as well. So I didn't realize, but I watched something on YouTube or somewhere this summer. Most of the native pollinators, the bumblebees and whatever, don't live more than 500 or 600 feet from where they're feeding. So mine must really enjoy the area because I've had a lot of them this summer. Flop that up so you could see it. The variety of zucchini that I grew this year was Romanesco variety, some other word with the name as well, but not terribly impressed with them. I didn't get very many. Usually you're overrun with zucchinis. My plants had 2 or 3 each. They were doing good. I just pulled a couple of my parsnips. That's the first ones I've pulled. Usually like to leave them anyway until we've had frost. But they're a good size already. I'm pleased with that. Not a lot of plums, but what I have are ripening nicely. I'll have to get out here either later today or tomorrow and pick them, I think, because next thing you know, some critter will have had them and I won't get any. I want to make plum jam, and I think I've probably got enough here for at least 1 batch of plum jam. Well, I decided to pick the plums, and there were more there than I thought there was. I don't know what the weight would be, but the basket's about half full. I think that's probably enough to do 2 batches of jam. And I say batches. I use a product made by Rogers in Canada. It has the pectin and everything already in the sugar mixture, and each batch is 3.5 cups of crushed fruit. Well, I don't crush these, they're too solid to crush. I put them through the food processor and chop them, but I'm thinking there's probably enough there to do 2 batches, which is wonderful because I love it on my toast in the wintertime. New toy. It's probably taking a video of me as I take a video of it. A new trail cam. I've had a trail cam for years and probably still works, but it took like 8 batteries or something. This one has built-in batteries, evidently, and a solar panel that charges them. So far, the only thing that it has filmed is me, Angel, and 1 porcupine. It's looking over here underneath of my big apple tree. You can see some apples on the ground there. In the past, there have been deer tracks and things this time of year as it gets a little cooler, eating the apples. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. I'll look around my messy greenhouse. A lot of things have finished in here. The cucumbers, for one, it was just far too hot. I did get cucumbers enough that I made a couple of kinds of relish, I guess, and some pickles. But, nothing like I normally get. It gave up in the heat. And I am having an issue with a miserable, rotten raccoon. Tomatoes, I have to take them in the house as soon as they start to show any sign of ripening. It comes in here. It can get in here around to 2 or 3 places, but the door is just one of those screens held together by magnets, and it doesn't have any problem getting in. And it checks every night for ripe or partially ripe tomatoes, pulls them off the plant, takes a bite or two out of each one, and throws them on the ground. I hate the miserable things. But this is interesting. These are lovely red when they ripen. I've got a couple in the house now that have ripened for me. Smooth red tomato. They were out of the same seed packet as the yellow brandywine, which is next door here. I haven't actually had a ripe one yet, but that's what a brandywine should look like. I can get a decent look at them. Out of the same package of seeds. Kind of crazy. And here I see one, yes. Yep, I gotta take that in with me. Not even ripe, but I gotta take it in because the coon will get it tonight if I don't. The other thing that's been doing well in here are the peppers. Great year for peppers. They seem to like the heat, I guess. This is a sweet, obviously, bell pepper type plant called Big Red. So far, I haven't had anything ripen. I've got 3 of those plants, and they're all doing quite well. And these are the jalapenos. A lot of them, if I can get them up so you can see them. Plans are to make a hot sauce out of the jalapenos. And next door are poblanos, and they're doing very well. First time I've ever grown poblanos, and, well, in my opinion, there's absolutely no heat. They say they're mild. Well, they're very mild, at least these ones are. But I'm going to try stuffed and baked sometime in the next few days. And these are habaneros. And I've been doing this every time I come out here to get some pollination. But down under there are a few that have started to grow. And I think they're, I have to find the seed packet. I think they were supposed to be yellow habaneros, which looks like what might be happening there. They're turning a yellowish green anyway. So I will definitely get some heat out of those. Next to it is a sage plant. Always does very well. It overwinters and really likes the heat in here. Well, I think that's about it. I will close this down, and such as it is, that is my garden tour for early September.